Hello everyone, welcome to 3ddesignacademy.com. In this lesson, we will learn about the curve offset tool. So the curve offset tool can be accessed under curves, and you'll be able to see the tool right here. And as the name suggests, it allows you to offset curves. Now there are some differences between the curve offset tool and the offset tool located right here under Object Edit. So I'll go over some of the differences in this lesson. Okay, so let's try offsetting some curves. So I created some curves over here, so I'm going to try to use them. So I'm just going to grab these curves over here, and I'm going to say curve offset, and you'll see that are some manipulators. Actually, let me just double click on the tool in order to see the options. So you'll see that there's a blue arrow right here. You can click on it, and you'll be able to offset it like that. And you'll notice that it creates a sort of a curve fillet, but that is because the blend option is on. So if you just turn that off, and it'll just offset the rectangle as is. So I'm just going to offset it 40 mils like this. Now let's take a look at some of the differences between how it is done over here and when there is a fillet present. So I'm just, again, going to do a curve offset like this. Again, same thing, 40 mils. And you'll notice that the CV structure is a little bit different. So in this case, what you can do is you can change from automatic to CV offset, and it'll try to retain the CV structure as much as possible. Now, you won't retain it perfectly, but at least it'll somewhat keep the structure as is. Now, one of the differences between the Object Edit and curve, not Object Edit, offset under Object Edit and the curve offset is the extend function. So in this case, let me just offset this one again. So I'm just going to click on, select all the curves like this, and I'm just going to offset it. And I'm just going to offset it 40 mils like this. And you'll see the CV structure is a little bit weird here, but if you change that to NUV, actually, let me just go to query history, NUV. You'll see that the CV structure is a little bit different. Now, depending on the situation, this can be helpful. But in this case, you'll see that the curve offset was able to retain a curvature, whereas the just a regular offset under Object Edit did not. So in this case, curve offset would be a lot more helpful. Also, if I were to offset this rectangle like this with an Object Edit, you'll see that the curve only extends to here, which can be quite difficult if you were to trim this whole. Let's say you wanted to trim this out. So in this case, what you would have to do is, actually, before I do that, let me just hide these curves. You would have to actually extend this one over here, extend it like this. Extend this one and extend it like that. And it not only does it involve a lot more steps, it also deletes the construction history. So if you were to actually manipulate it, you would have to delete this one and offset it again. So in this case, a curve offset is kind of difficult to use. Okay. So I think that's a pretty good coverage of the basic functions of offset tool. Now let's try offsetting some curve and surface. So actually, before I do that, let me just delete all those. While both offset under Object Edit and the curve offset both allow you to offset curve and surface, let me just show you guys how it is done. Now, one thing that you might want to be aware is that the offset of curve and surface and offset of the curves is a little bit different. Let me just show you guys how it's different. So let's say I wanted to, well, I'm just going to change this back to automatic. Okay, so let me just offset the curve and surface right here. And actually, I'm just going to say 40. And I'm just going to offset it the other direction. So I'm going to just add a negative right here, like this, and enter. And I'm just going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to go to side view over here, and I'm going to do a curve offset. And I'm just going to change the direction like this. Now, is it done? Okay. So you'll notice that there's a little bit of discrepancy, and that is because when you offset curved surface, it is the distance between the curved surface as on the surface. Because there is a slight angle, it's going to be a little bit different than it's straight up and down of the curve offset that is done over here. So same thing on the side, even though it's a 40 mils, because the distance between the curved surface is a little bit different due to the angle of the surface, it's going to give you a little bit different result when looking at from the side view, as you can see over here. Okay, so that is the curve offset tool. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.